Welcome back. Today I'm going to take a look at the latest quarter of AMD. They reported this week, and obviously, as a shareholder, it's very interesting for me to take a look under the hood and see what kind of if they met the expectations, what was the revenue, the earnings, etc. And we know that the stock price has been down this week. So is it anything behind the downtrend, or is it just normal fluctuations of Wall Street and short-term trading, etc.? All important and interesting stuff that we need to take a look at because we don't take any chances here. Is our long-term vision still in place for AMD? Does this change anything? Yeah, basically that's what I want to look at today in the investor relations page of AMD, and I just pressed the press release of the earnings call. So they reported the third quarter earnings here, 4th of November, and they stated that the revenue was $9.2 billion, gross margin 52%, operating income 1.3 billion, and net income 1.2 billion. And if you use a non-GAAP basis, the numbers get even better. So basically, operating income $2.2 billion and net income $2 billion, etc. And this do not include any revenue from shipments of AMD Instinct's MI308 GPUs products to China. I don't know if they have shipped anything at all. We know that it has been a lot of trade talks between USA and China at the moment are not very fond of GPUs from USA. They want to make everything themselves, etc. So that's a huge potential market for AMD, but we will see. They are performing very good despite not selling so much to China. The CEO here, Lisa, said we delivered an outstanding quarter, record revenue, record profitability, reflecting broad-based demand for their high-performing products like Epic and the Ryzen processors and the Instinct AI accelerator. So we have the GPUs and we have the Ryzen processors, the CPUs. And when I listened to the earnings call, and what was interesting here was that we have a refresh cycle for the CPUs. So the CPU market was a lot better than a lot of us expected. Obviously, if we add 1 + 1, we should have understood that obviously more compute does mean not just more GPUs but also more CPUs. That's just how it is. And in the CPU market, AMD is very well positioned going forward. They have grabbed so much of the trust from customers and market share from Intel. And we do know that NVIDIA just initiated sort of collaboration with Intel to try to compete here with AMD about the customers, because they probably realized that it's too much money giving the whole CPU market to AMD, especially when the CPU market and demand are re-accelerating here with all the compute that are getting bought by different companies. So obviously, some people think more compute, that's the way to reach AGI. So who knows? But the companies are spending spree is something else. And I think if it's 1 week or 2 weeks, AMD will have a presentation at a tech event, and they will talk about the TAM in the AI market has grown even more. They last time talked about $500 billion, and now it's probably even higher. So it will be interesting to follow AMD there. Obviously, I will show you clips from that that event, and also talk about my feelings about it and the news that AMD will bring forth. And also here they are saying that they were very disciplined in the executions. John Hu, that's the vice president, the chief financial officer. Obviously, the CFO is always very important in these type of companies. And yeah, Jean, she during the earnings call often breaks down the numbers. First, you will have Lisa Su talking about the company in general, and then Jean comes in and breaks down the numbers, the margins, the specifics that might affect the margins short term and also the long term trajectory of the company. So they are talking about the product mix and the AI accelerators, etc., are improving the margins, so on and so on. So they say that this positions AMD to deliver long-term value creations with the significant growth. So yeah, it's looking good based on the comments from the CEO and the CFO here. So that's great. They are very confident, and when they are so confident, they have probably beat the guidance. And when we see here the revenues, that's higher than the guidance from Wall Street, a lot higher. It's up 36% year over year. So we're getting closer to some almost crazy growth here for company in the size of AMD. So basically, we soon up $10 billion each quarter. That will be $40 billion in a year. If you add price per sales, maybe 15, because obviously the company are getting more traction, getting a bit more exciting. I think the valuation and the price per sale might get a bit higher. So if we add price per sale to 15 and have 40 billion, so that's $600 billion in market share and stock. Obviously, the stock price will go higher. So I don't know exactly what the stock price is at the moment. Maybe we can see. Yeah, who just watch here fast. AMD. Let's see if we get some speed in this search. So at the moment we see the stock is down obviously today, but I don't think the earnings call has anything to do about it. And the market cap is $388 billion. So if you did hear me out there on what I think the market cap is going, I said $600 billion at least in terms of where the revenue trajectory is going quite short term, like 1 year. So I'm feeling quite bullish in terms of market cap at the moment. Looking at the gross profit and gross margin is very impressive. It's up a lot since the latest quarter and year over year. Obviously, the latest quarter was affected by, I think, the trade situation with China and they wrote off there a lot of expected income from their China ships, I would call them. We do see some operating expenses going up. A lot since Q3 2024. It's up 30%, but obviously the output here, putting in like $800 million and getting 2.5 billion dollars. That's a very good investment, I would say. The return on investment there, the ROI is very, very good. And I like to see that. I like that the operating margin is going up, and also the net income. That's just amazing, and the free cash flow is getting better. The company can, through having these type of numbers, they can invest in R&D, they can buy back stocks, and through buying back stocks, obviously they can pay their employees through stock options, and doing that and not diluting the ownership for investors like me and you guys. So there's something that we always want to increase when we invest, seeing the cash flow getting better over time. That's very important. And combining the cash flow growth and the revenue growth that AMD are doing at the moment, that's an A-class sort of economic position you want to be in. It's very rare to see. Often you see stocks like, for example, Snapchat stock, the revenue is getting better, but the net income, it refuses to like go positive long term. And having this type of growth that AMD is doing, and seeing that they have the option to buy back stocks and invest in R&D, is very pleasant as an investor. So they're also saying that they don't include anything here from China, and the inventory write-off there in the second quarter affected the gross margin. Some segment summary here. Data center segment revenue was up $4.3 billion. Very, very interesting for investors. In terms of AI and data center, this is an important part when we're talking about the bigger picture. And obviously, I think this is the segment where they will get a lot of money with the deal they had with OpenAI not so long ago. Also in client and gaming, revenue was $4 billion, up 73%. And that's, I think, like portable computers and the Ryzen processors inside them, very popular choice for everyday people buying AMD products here. They're Asus. They are collaborating with Asus, etc. This type of computer products, and Dell, and yeah. Also, the client revenue was a record of $2.8 billion, and this is up 46% year over year, and that's driven by the Ryzen processors and richer product mix. Um, Also, first they have them together, and now they are saying so. Client, I already talked about that, and obviously gaming, I was a bit too fast there. Was also up 181%. I think Wall Street did miss this, that the gaming revenue was going to jump so fast. But if you think back about my channel and the videos I have produced, I did tell you that the GPUs, the new 5070 XT and the Radeon GPU, going out there to everyday people who want to play the newest computer games, etc., but they don't want to pay like $2,000 for an NVIDIA GPU. This was a very competitive release of AMD in that segment. I think Wall Street might have missed that in their estimates, and that's why they sort of outperformed in this quarter. But we who do our due diligence knew about this, and that is why we have been in this stock for a long time and can reap the rewards, going from like C70 or $80 up to $240 as it is at the moment. So I'm not scared that we have been up to 260 and now it's 240. It will be a bit trading around the company short term, but long term, I think the valuation around $388 billion is not where we will be in the future based on the type of income that AMD will have. And embedded segment here was the only part, was down 8%. And here we have some recent PR highlights. Some of the highlights here. We have the latest news, the strategic partnership with OpenAI. We have so this will bring maybe up to $100 billion long term for AMD, $25 billion per year in 2026, 2027, 2028, 2029. And this will also help AMD in a big way, knowing how to co-develop products with OpenAI, and they will have a competitive product long term, just accelerating that knowledge that the employees of AMD has, so they can be a player forever in this space. Obviously, the demand for compute will just continue to increase through 2030, 2040, 2050, and having that knowledge in your company will be crucial long term. So this is a good deal, not just for the shareholders. Obviously, we will be diluted 10% with this deal, but it will help AMD become that type of name that a lot of companies will want to buy GPUs from. We have the Oracle and AMD deal. They have the 50,000 GPU starting Q3 2026. We have talked about that also, and the Helios Rack design. So here we see that hopefully that will mean that Meta will buy a lot from them. We know that Microsoft has a 27% ownership in OpenAI. So if the collaboration with OpenAI will be very, very good, Microsoft is the type of company that they don't want to buy more expensive GPUs than necessary. So Microsoft can be a huge customer long term also. Cisco, obviously very big in networking, a classic company that want to deploy the AMD Instinct MI355X. That's the launch they do this year, going very well. That's the chip that are driving the AI data center income this year in UAE. Obviously, the IBM and AMD always collaborate a lot, leveraging the MI350 series here. Cohere, I think that was a Canadian company. bring a lot of GPUs powered infrastructure, and yeah, a lot more companies here just having that collab with AMD. And obviously, a company of AMD scale will always have a lot of companies that they can show that they are doing business with, and they're just getting more and more companies. So this is not something that we have to get stuck on repeating the names of all the. They obviously do business with everyone. They are such a big company now. We are glad to see that the ROCm 7 software are getting better. Obviously, for like a couple of years ago, Wall Street was saying that AMD will never be competitive because the CUDA of NVIDIA is much better than the something that AMD will ever do. But we have seen them improve the ROCm stack and the ROCm software so fast that it's almost might be the most amazing thing they have done in this space. And I think it has to do with a lot of they have bought a lot of company in the AI space during 2023, 2024, 2025. So obviously that brings a lot of knowledge into the company so they can improve. For example, the CT system, a lot of engineers. So despite the divestiture of the manufacturing to Sanmina, they still have a lot of people from CT systems still employed by AMD. So obviously they get that brain power, but they don't want to be the manufacturer. So they just they want to collaborate with Sanmina instead. Um, so here they are saying that AMD partners expand also with the EPIC processors to meet growing compute demand for enterprise and AI workloads. So AWS announced the availability of Amazon EC2 general purpose instance powered by more. So this is the processor news. As said, they are selling so much CPUs at the moment. And also Oracle are next gen compute cloud customer, and they are the powered by the fifth gen AMD EPIC processors. So they are performing really, really good. And this, AWS, that's Amazon. So they are having all the big companies, Oracle, quantum computing with AMD leader. AMD powered. I think it's the most of the fastest supercomputers in the world is powered by AMD. So this also the FSR4, that's the upscaling technology they have in the latest chips for the Radeon GPU series, the 570 XT, etc., performing very good. So that type of technology, they were far behind NVIDIA, but they are closing in. Not as good yet, but they are closing in. So obviously nice to see. And the outlook is always important when we talk about earnings. Having $9.6 billion, continue to grow next quarter. It can be close to $10 billion. We see here plus minus $300 million. Sometimes in AMD lowballs the expectations. I would say that it's quite easy to estimate revenues for this type of companies because it's when you are probably gonna ship a lot of your GPU, CPUs, etc., and therefore what quarter you are supposed to have that income accounted for. So this is account in terms of following the accounting principles and when to account for the revenue. So I believe they know very well where they are probably going to land next quarter. So I think maybe $9.8 billion will be where they land. If they are over $10 billion, that will be uh, some statement that will be something to talk about during the earnings call, and having like the headlines, oh, AMD first time over $10 billion, outperforming the expectations again from Wall Street. That could be something to look forward to. Yeah. So that's about it. Talking about the earnings of AMD.